Okay, guys, I think I'm gonna remove this recording. Recording in progress. All right. what do we got? We got some research using twins. The passage is pretty much factual here. So if we just pay attention to the words, pretty much we will get very basic questions. There may be genetic causes. There may be genetic causes for the difference in how young the skin of identical twins look. So the skin has to be the skin. So the cause of the difference is because of the skin. So genetic cause for the difference in how there may be causes in how the young skin. If the twins the skin looks pretty identical, if that means that's because of the genetic causes. That's what they're saying. The twins are at greater risk of developing certain illnesses than non-twins. Bouchard advertised in newspaper for twins who had been separated at birth, and epigenetic processes are different from both genetic and environmental processes. So, all right. Now, before doing that, actually, we have also we also have classifications where it highlights that you may use any letter more than once, and then we have some summary completion with words with options here. Before that, Francis Galton, Thomas Burchard, and Danielle Reed. I'm going to actually underline that here. I'm going to choose let's see. Okay. I want to we have Francis Galton. You know that they come in order. The names come in order now. We have now Bouchard, we have Butchered, or I don't really know how to. We have Thomas Butchered over here as well. And then we have Daniele Reed. So we have Bouchard once again. All right, Francis Galton. Anything else in terms of that? You think, blah, blah, blah. One day, biology, studies. I think studies. Daniele Reed has worked with many. Daniele Reed, in terms of five, question number five to nine, invented a term used to distinguish two factors affecting human characteristics. Okay. The in epigenetic processes, something blah blah blah. It also says influence the activity of our something else. Epigenetic processes. Where's epigenetic processes? I want to find epigenetic processes. Okay, maybe here epigenetic processes. Ah, there you go. Epigenetic okay, so in epigenetic processes, influence the activity of our genes. For example, in creating our internal something. So epigenetic processes are chemical reactions tied to neither nature nor nurture, but representing what researchers have called a third component. Okay. These reactions influence how our genetic code is expressed, how each gene is strengthened or weakened, even turned on or turned off to build our bones, brains, and all other parts of our bodies. Okay, epigenetic process or chemical reactions. So in epigenetic process, something influences the activity of our genes. By the way, I also forgot of the to invent a table. So I will come up with a table. So words in the questions and similar words on the passage. All right. Now, the activity of our genes, the activity of our genes, influence the activity of our genes. Influence. So I think influence the activity of our genes is saying influence how our genetic code is expressed. Influence how our genetic code is expressed. Now, so once we have that, okay, we have that, these reactions and blah blah blah. For example, in creating our internal something, in epigenetic processes, okay. In the epigenetic process, chemical reactions tied to neither. So we have chemical reactions as an answer. So chemical reactions are as that means it's a D. We have chemicals. So we have a whoops. We have a D over here. Influence the activity of our genes, for example, in creating our internal something. Tied to nurture, no, but represent what researchers have called third component. How each gene is strengthened or weakened, even turned on for to build our bones, brains, and other parts of our bodies. Internal is um bones, brains, and all the other parts of our bodies. That's what it is saying. So that means it's an organs. There we go. We just take B. All right, we have to remove that so that so that we don't choose it again. All right. What else have we got? This study of epigenetic processes uncovering a way in which our genes can be affected by our something. So if you think our if you think our if you think of our DNA as an immense piano keyboard and our genes as the keys, each key symbolizing a segment of DNA responsible for a particular note or trait, and all the keys are combined to make us who we are. Then epigenetic processes determine when and how each key can be struck, changing the tune being played. On one way, the study of epigenetics is revolutionizing our understanding of biology. So, the study of epigenetic processes uncovering a way in which our genes can be affected by our something is by revealing a mechanism by which the environment directly impacts our genes. Studies of animals, for example, um, have shown that when a rat experiences stress during pregnancy, it can cause epigenetic changes in a fetus that lead to behavioral problems as the rodent grows up. Other epigenetic processes appear to occur randomly, while others are normal, such as those that guide embryonic cells as they become heart, brain, or liver cells, for example. Okay, so the study of epigenetic process uncovering a way in which our genes can be affected by our what? So they are revealing, pretty much uncovering is that revealing. Biologists is by revealing a mechanism by which the environment directly impacts on genes. Can be so uncovering in which can uncovering, or we have another one, uncovering. We have as revealing, a pretty obvious word. We have revealing. Okay, uncovering a way in which our genes can be affected, impact our what? We have revealing mechanism which impact on genes. So okay, environment that impacts on genes. So do we have environment? We have environments. We have it's an E. So I think that this is a technical term and that has nothing. One example is that I also forgot about saying the effect is saying impact. Now, the newborn rat may later show problems in its something. The newborn. While others, so epigenetic changes in a fetus. During pregnancy, it can cause epigenetic changes in a fetus that lead to behavior problems. Behavior problems. So we have F. So that's probably suffers experiences, right? Suffers stress. So we have suffers. Whoops. Why did I do that? So okay, we have suffers and suffers experiences. We have that very obvious words. I think they're ranging from B1, B2 kind of words. Okay, we have F over here. Now, once back again to Francis Galton and so on. But however, I don't think I'm gonna go there. Let me just do the true false negative first. To biomedical researchers all over the world, twins offer a precious opportunity to untangle the influence of genes and the environment of nature and nurture. Because identical twins come from a single fertilized egg that splits into two. Okay, they share virtually the same genetic code. Any differences between them, one twin having younger looking skin, for example, must be due to environmental factors. Okay, we have environmental factors. We have another. We have the first answer for true false not given. I'm gonna take and give number one. All right, so we have, so the answer is going to be false here. Twins are at greater risk. Okay. Alternatively, by comparing the experiences of identical twins with those of fraternal twins who come from separate eggs and share on average half their DNA, researchers can quantify the extent to which our genes affect our lives. If identical twins are more similar to each other with respect to an ailment, ailment is a sickness, than fraternal twins are, then vulnerability to the disease must be rooted at least in part in heredity. Twins are at greater risk of developing certain illnesses than non-twins. However, the question is developing certain illnesses than non-twins. Non-twins are fraternal ones. Illnesses are ailments. So I will take that. Um, ill illnesses. Illnesses are ailments. However, whether they are at greater risks. It's obviously the task the I mean the second paragraph is saying that identical twins are more similar to each other with respect to an ailment than fraternal twins are. Then then vulnerability to these diseases must be rooted at least in part in heredity. However, to make a comparison, to make a comparison whether or not they are at a greater risk in developing certain illnesses. So developing certain illnesses means to get sick. There's no comparison whether twins are they are in much higher danger than they're it's not the paragraph is not necessarily saying that the twins are that they are in danger than fraternal ones. Fraternal ones are probably those who are not non-twins. So, however, it's not saying that they are more at risk. It's just saying if identical twins are more similar to each other with respect to to an ailment, to a disease, than fraternal twins are, then vulnerability to the disease must be rooted at least in part in heredity. However, it must be rooted means it comes from in part in heredity, but it doesn't necessarily say that they are more in danger. So I will give this as a not given. Bouchard advertised, all right, these two lines of research studying the differences between identical twins to pinpoint the influence of the environment and comparing identical twins with fraternal ones. These two lines of research studying the difference between identical twins to pinpoint the influence of the environment. Comparing identical twins with the fraternal ones to measure the role of inheritance have been crucial to understanding the interplay of nature and nurture in determining our personalities, behavior, and vulnerability to diseases. The idea of using twins to measure the influence of heredity dates back to 1875 when the English scientist Francis Galton first suggested the approach and coined the phrase nature and nurture. But twin studies took a surprising twist in the 1980s with the arrival of studies into identical twins who had been separated at birth and reunited as adults. Bouchard advertised in newspapers for twins who had been separated at birth. Uh, the over 2 decades, 137 sets of twins eventually visited Thomas Bouchard's lab in what became known as the Minnesota study of twins reared apart. Numerous tests were carried out on the twins, and then they were each asked more than 15,000 questions. Answer is not given. Once again, because it does not say that they were advertised in the newspapers. There's nothing about advertising in the newspaper. It doesn't mention whether Bouchard advertised these twins that were separated at birth were advertised in newspapers. No, epigenetic processes are different from both genetic and environmental processes. Now, however, so Bouchard and his colleagues in his mountains, nothing about that yet, right? So, what is epigenetic process are different from both genetic? Okay, so what do we have? Bouchard and his colleagues used this mountain of data to identify how far twins were affected by our genetic makeup. The key to their approach was a statistical concept called heritability. In broad terms, the heritability of a trait measures the extent to which differences among members of a population can be explained by differences in their genetics. And wherever Bouchard and other scientists looked, it seemed they found the invisible hand of genetic influence by helping to shape our lives. So, was there any epigenetics here? So does it have anything here? Epigenetic. Nature and nurture is pretty much nature is environment, nurture is genetic, I guess, right? Um, I'm not sure. All right, let's read a little bit more. So epigenetic processes are different from both genetic and environmental. Is this not given, or is it not given? So I think we cannot give numbers here. Lately, however, twin studies have helped lead scientists to a radical new conclusion that nature and nurture are not the elemental forces at work. According to a recent field called epigenetics, there's a third factor also in play, one that in some cases serves as a bridge between the environment and our genes, and in others operates on its own to shape who we are. Um, Epigenetic processes are different from both genetic. Nature and nurture are not the only elemental forces at work. According to a recent study called epigenetics, there's a third factor also in play, one that in some cases serves as a bridge between the environment and our genes. So genetic and environmental process means nature and nurture. So, however, are different from both genetic. But where's the difference? But if they're saying if it's different, according to recent field, there is a third factor also in play, one that in some cases serves as a bridge between the environment and in others operates in some shape who we are. Okay, this is different. Now I just takes time for me to sometimes understand. It is saying that in epigenetics, let me get the highlight. In epigenetics, there's a third factor. There's a third reason also that plays. That there's also a third reason. One in some cases serves as the first one serves as a bridge between the environment and our genes. The other operates on its own to shape who we are. So two different things. Epigenetic processes are different for both genetic and environmental processes. Yes. Now, Francis Galton, in terms of Francis Galton, where did Francis Galton say anything about invented a term used to distinguish two factors affecting human characteristics? Yeah, Francis Galton invented it. He invented it means he coined the phrase. So Francis Galton did that, as that's very obvious. I'm gonna give it an A. So because Francis Galton first coined. So let me actually do this. Coined. So what is this number? It's number 5. So we'll give it. We'll also give it here a number. Uh, Invented. Whoops, sorry for that. I guess it was invented, and here it will be coined. Now, expressed the view that the study of epigenetics will increase our knowledge. And now I have to read the third name. Where was the third name? Over 2 decades, 137 sets of twins eventually expressed the view that the study of epigenetics will increase our knowledge. Expressed the view. So let's say the first Thomas Bouchard. Thomas Bouchard, he doesn't developed the mathematical methods, pioneered research into genetics of twins, carried out research into twins who have lived apart. Who have lived apart. I think that's again Francis Galton who did that. I probably believe that it's Francis Galton. Um, the idea of using twins to measure the influence heredity takes back when they're English scientists. Blah blah blah. Here it says twin study twin studies took a surprising twist in 1980s, right? So, but twin studies took a surprising twist in the 1980s with the rival studies into the identical twins who had been separated at birth and reunited as adults. So, carried out research into twins who lived apart. Lived apart means being separated at birth. So that's him who did it. Another one. So we have this is option number 9. Now, what else have we got? Anything else that Francis Galton did? No, he didn't say anything at all. Now let's read a little bit more about one. We did this. Now let's read the Daniel Reed. Daniel Reed has worked with many twins over the years and thought deeply about what about what twin studies have taught us. It's very clear when you look at twins that much of what they share is hardwired. Hardwired means installed to the brain. So installed to the brain, that's probably what it actually means. Now, um, many things about them are absolutely the same and unalterable, cannot be changed. But it's also clear when you get to know them that other things about them are different. Epigenetics is the origin of a lot of those differences, in my view. Reed credits Thomas Butcher's works for today's surge in twin studies. He was the trailblazer. He was the trailblazer, she says. We forgot that 50 pioneered research into genetics using twins. Who pioneered? I'm sorry, but pioneered as in definition, pioneered means he the first person of something pioneered research into genetics using twins. The idea of using twins to measure the influence of heredity dates back when the English scientists were the first pioneered. Is that how was it? Is that how it's written? Pioneered. It's double E. Oh my god. Okay. Pioneered. So suggested. First suggested. First suggested means it was again number 8 is A, I guess, right? It's number A. Carried out research into twins who lived apart. However, who did it? It's I guess that's A, right? It cannot be. Okay, I don't carried out research into twins who lived apart. Okay. Thomas Butcher's lab. Oh, it's Thomas Butcher's lab. It's Thomas. If it's Thomas Butcher's lab, then obviously there's a Thomas Butcher, right? So okay, number 7. Now, what number 7 says that it developed a mathematical method of measuring genetic influences. Butchered, and his colleagues used this mountain of data to identify how far twins were affected by genetic makeup. The ability to approach it was a statistical concept. Statistical concept is the mathematical method. Mathematical method, right? Mathematical method means statistical concept. Statistical concept. Develop a mathematical method for genetic using of measuring genetic influences. So we have again B, as far as I can say. Now, number 6 expressed the view that the epigenetics will increase our knowledge. So we have read this one. Now we have to read this place. Having said that, Reed adds the latest work in epigenetics promise to take our understanding even further. Oh, okay, it's pretty obvious. Take further. Will increase our knowledge. So, will increase our knowledge means increase promise to take our knowledge understanding even further. Promises to take our understanding even further. There we go. So who said that? It was Reed. So what is the Reed is option number C. So we have done. So we have false, not given, true, A, C, B, A, B. All right, we have done everything. We have done the tables. There we go, guys. We finished test 4 section. I mean passage 1. If you have any questions, comment down in the comments. Comment down below. If you think I cheated, of course you can also say cheated in terms of time. Yeah, this is the longest one. I haven't been doing reading for a very long time, and it's taking time for me to just get back and um just get back and return to this old ways of doing reading. So yeah, thank you very much, you guys. If you like it, thumbs up. If you didn't like it, obviously you can, if you don't like it, you can pretty much. All right, so I had an error. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys.